So we'll just see until it pops up on the stream and then I'll go. My internet's been a bit slow. Okay, yeah, everything's all good. Right, hello everyone and welcome to Talking Esports episode 1. I'm your host, ContactZero. So before I begin the show, I'd just like to say a quick summary about what we're actually going to be doing here. What we're going to be doing is talking about UK esports, focusing heavily on the League of Legends scene, and we'll be discussing this with various people from different roles. I'm quite new to this, and any feedback could be great. I'll try and take any feedback on board and try and improve the show with that feedback for future episodes. So my guest this evening is Josh Williams, who is the founder of the National University Esports League, also known as the NUEL for short. I'm sure plenty of people already know what the NUEL does, but for those of you who don't, it's a league that allows students to play for the university and then compete throughout the year against other universities to become the best in the UK. Would you like to add anything to that, Josh?
No, like I say, it's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. The inter-university tournament for the UK, and we're just trying to create an environment for people to have a great experience around esports while they're at university.
All right, cool. So Josh, in an interview back in 2013 for NUEL, you said you were playing Call of Duty 4 before you created the NUEL, and I think also Battlefield. So what was it like doing that gaming community, and what exactly made you transition from that community to thinking about creating the NUEL, which I think was back in 2010, is that right?
That's right, yeah. Glad to see you doing your research. I was hoping interviews like that would never get dug out because I've probably said something controversial or something I regret saying. But yeah, so I set up a Call of Duty 4 team, well, originally a Battlefield 2 team, back, Christ knows when, years and years and years ago, probably like 8 years ago. Um, and yeah, I just sort of like saw about teams and esports and stuff like that, and I thought it would be really cool to do that. So um, we did that for a few years. It was great fun. We made some great friends, went on holiday together, played in events, and won some money, etc., which were all great. I weren't very good, but we had a great time, and we made some really good friends, and we're all still in touch now and meet up as often as we can. But then A levels came in the way, and I thought, well, you know, do I carry on playing games or do I go to university? So I've sort of ditched. I had to ditch sort of playing as much as I did, and sort of focus more on my studies and shape. And I do think there's things around. Um, Part of the reason why I set the NUEL up is like through my frustration of like the lack of things happening in the UK scene at the time. Um, but people are just sort of being going at this problem in the same way all the time, and I wanted to try and do something different and look at how we can sort of try and address the problem in more of a unique way. So I thought it'd be great to be able to represent your university, and I think that's a really important motivating factor for people who play in the NUEL. It's like you can go and play cricket or be play chess or whatever for your university, but you couldn't do that for esports. And yeah, I think that's a really cool thing to be able to do. And if you sort of open that up, so you have like universities mixed with other people, you sort of loses its meaning a little bit. I think that'd be a shame. But we, like I said, I think the people are doing a good job of running non-university tournaments, so we didn't really see why well any need for us to go and do so. And we wanted to do something different as well and try and take a different angle and helping improve the UK scene in particular.
Okay. Right, so obviously that's when you obviously began the NUEL. Describe
Uh-huh.
your initial role in the NUEL, like what exactly began the ball rolling, so to speak.
Yeah, so as like anybody who's starting something off, you do everything to start off with. So you're sort of designing the tournaments, running the tournaments, trying to do social media, contacting all the teams and societies, doing all the admin work. You know, the one thing I never did was any casting on the stream, which you probably, as you can tell, was probably a good shout. And yeah, we're just just trying to do whatever we can to just make it happen, basically. You know, it was pretty easy to start off with because nobody turned up to the first tournament.
Yeah.
But you know, it started growing and growing more, and as it did, you know, obviously brought people who are much better than I am at doing those roles. And I've come to a point now where you know everybody else is doing the important work, and I just sit around telling everybody else what to do and trying to look important and busy.
So, like, what you're doing now, is it different to what you were doing initially? Was there a lot more work back then, or is there a lot more work nowadays? Because obviously it's grown a lot.
Yeah, there was well for me personally, there's the work level's probably not changed. It's just sort of the actual work itself changed. You know, beforehand, like I used to have to be part of the admin team on a Sunday night running the tournaments, and like you know, the systems that we were using back then were terrible. Like we would be entering things in spreadsheets. I always remember one day me and Ian spent like probably between us an entire 24 hours going through checking everybody's ranks and stuff like that. So we've sort of been able to get away with all that sort of thing now. We've got a much better website and stuff, so that helps. Just take the workload off there, but it gets replaced by some of the other things that we want to do, and like we do more content now and events, and we're working more with sponsors and trying to find other opportunities of pushing the scene forward. So you spend more time doing that sort of thing now.
So do you ever fill in for other people? Obviously you've got your own role, but as many people do you put in a different hat on every day to try and help out with other areas? Because I know you obviously write some articles for the website, so obviously that's not necessarily what you might have started out to want to do, but it's something that you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, like I do fill in where I can. Like I try and avoid me doing anything that I'm particularly bad at, so like writing articles, for example, or making doing casting or stuff like that. Is like a big no-no because my English and sort of presenting skills are terrible. But you try and do what you can to support things when they're not happening, and do your best to fill in. So if like with anything, especially in esports, things if some things go wrong at times, or if somebody's ill, or something happens. So yeah, you do have to sort of like just chuck yourself in there and get involved. But like I can't, like I don't want to come across like I do all the work at the NUEL, because like there's a team of very dedicated people who do a hell of a lot of work and put a lot of effort in. I just sit here and take the credit.
Okay, so obviously some of the obvious staff positions that we've already mentioned are like the admins and the casters. What other positions are actually involved with the NUEL to obviously help create the brand that NUEL has created? And like what kind of things do those people do?
Yeah, so we have loads of different roles and lots of very dedicated people helping us out, which is awesome. So we've been really pushing content over this last 6 months. So we've got people writing articles, making videos, doing more stuff on the stream, more casters and stuff like that. We've got people like I said, helping us with like cutting clips up and making fancy videos and doing voiceovers and all that sort of thing, which is awesome, and making some really cool content for the community to enjoy and get more engaged with the whole tournament and allow more people to sort of understand what's going off and get an idea so they can follow what's going off. We have our website guys, which are sort of crucial, and I'm not too sure how they died based off the amount of work they had to do up until now. They work incredibly hard. We have people working on liaising with the societies and the reps that we have, and seeing how we can help improve and facilitate growth on all the different campuses across the country. I don't know if that's even a word. And yeah, there's loads of different things. Obviously, got the admins. Like now we're doing CS:GO. We have like server admins and stuff like that. We got people working on graphics, like the whole sort of shebang, really. Everything that, all the little things that you need to think about and make the NUEL tick over. Like we've got somebody there to do that.
How did you actually manage to grab so many people to get on board with you? Because I imagine they obviously don't get paid, or if they do get paid, they probably don't get paid too much, as is with everyone in esports, especially in the UK. I guess it wasn't always like that either. You know, you probably started off with quite a small team, and as the need for it began, because of so many people joining, I don't know how many teams you have in the NUEL now, but obviously it's a lot bigger than, say, the 20, 50 that began in the first year. Like, how did you actually
Uh-huh.
manage to get all those on board with you?
Yeah, so basically, it's quite a sophisticated operation. I set traps around universities and just capture people unwillingly, and then just drag them to NUEL HQ and chain them to a desk until they pass out. But no, we obviously have a massive community of people, and lots of students with spare time, and a lot of people who are wanting to get involved with esports, maybe later down the line as a career. So, what we look at doing is bringing people on board so we can help them get relevant experience and stuff, so that they can go to something like ESL, Riot, Twitch, whoever, and you know, put some experience down on the CV and say like, I helped the NUEL out, sort of thing. So we have quite a lot of willing people to come along and are very kind with their time. All our roles are pretty much exclusively volunteer roles, so it's obviously we're very grateful for people to be able to give up the time instead of getting out on the lash or doing other things that we could do to enjoy themselves at university. And ultimately everybody who comes to work for the NUEL wants to help grow the university scene and put something back in. We have a lot of like ex-players or people who help set societies up and stuff like that, or been following it. And they're just really keen to get involved with, putting something back in, which is awesome. And that just it sort of reciprocates and keeps things ticking over really.
Well, obviously, it's a great opportunity to work for the NUEL. You've grown the brand quite a lot in what, 4 or 5 years properly? Because I
Hmm.
think the first year there was probably just planning out. So, I mean, even last year you did the NUEL Live, which is, I'm guessing, your first live event. And you do that basis on the things like Best of the Southwest, was it called, and
Hmm.
King of the North? So like, how was that experience? Like actually doing some and like a live event and being able to hold like the championship finals for the league.
It was very stressful and very little sleep was had, but it was awesome. It's obviously like what we do is predominantly online, and as you'll know when you go to events and stuff, and anybody who's been to Insomnia or MCM or anything like that, it's just awesome meeting these people that you're playing with online in person. Um, so it's really nice to meet lots of people from the community who came down and just get to talk to them in person and see, what they've been thinking of the NUEL and like what we can do better and all that sort of thing, and just get to know them a bit better as people. Um, so it was amazing, and I know the guys who got the chance to play up on stage, Nottingham and Birmingham. They had an awesome time as well, from what they tell me, and it's sort of like we're trying to achieve two things really with New Life. We want to sort of give the sort of like the top players in the NUEL that sort of opportunity to experience a little bit what it's like to be like a pro or play it and sort of being admired and play in front of all these people and have all the production and wear makeup, which I think were a bit of a shock to them all, and to be on camera and like be filmed and all that sort of thing. And I think they really really enjoyed that. And we want to, when we're looking at like the top end of the players. We're very much looking at like how can we try and inspire them to go on and leave the NUEL and go and do something awesome, and like take it more seriously potentially. So I think that was I think it sort of achieved that in to a certain extent. Like the players really enjoyed it, but it's also just a great opportunity for the community to come and meet up too. It's like I say, it's rare that you get to meet all these people in real life, and with what we're doing, very much nationwide. People playing Dundee down to Plymouth. You don't get many opportunities to meet these people face to face and chat about stuff and take the piss out of somebody because you absolutely demolished them in lane. on week 5 or something like that. So it was really nice, and the feedback we got was awesome, and we were really excited about doing this year's event.
What kind of things are you taking from last year's event to obviously improve it for this year's event?
Yeah, so we we sort of got like two parts of the event. Like you've got the sort of like main viewing experience of like watching the games, and then sort of the side activities. Um, and side activities are really popular, so we want to sort of look at what more we can do there, and like the different things, different sort of interactive things people can be doing in like the intervals and while we're waiting for the games to go live and stuff like that. And then we're trying to just sort of really improve the sort of like the whole sort of spectator experience as well, and see how we can make that more impressive and more engaging, so more like we want to sort of like help build the personalities and the stories up of the players and the teams and how they got there and stuff like that. And yeah, just improve on the production side of things, and just find a sort of generally better location. I think one of the main things that people have said, like we did it in Loughborough, which is, if you don't know where that is, it's in the middle of nowhere. So we're looking for somewhere where it's just easy for people to get to, so more people can come along to.
Okay. So when you started, obviously NUEL was this tiny thing, and now it's probably pretty much everyone probably knows about the NUEL, and if they are, then I don't know where they're living under. But what did you ever expect it to become this big? I mean, you obviously have the sponsorship with Game now. Like, how did you manage to acquire that? Who approached who? Did you start contacting them to try and get that, I guess?
hmm So to answer your first part of your question, whether you thought you were sort of going to grow this big, we always wanted it to grow big, and it's weird because like you sort of want it, you sort of want these numbers, but when you get them, it's a bit surreal, and you sort of don't sort of expect it. Like you see the signups at the beginning of the year, and you're like, whoa, that's like thousands of people that are going to be playing every week. That's crazy. Um, so it's a bit of a shock when it happens, and like especially when you see things in person, or like when things go crazy on social media or Twitter or on Twitch, sorry, or stuff like that. Then you're like, whoa, like that's actually pretty mental. But you sort of want to gun for those numbers, and for it to get that big. I don't want it to sound like arrogant, but you want it to be like that, but it is a bit surreal when it happens. Um, in terms of like sponsorships and stuff like that, we've been very lucky with a lot of our sponsorships that people have come out to us and said, "Hey, we really like what you're doing. We want to get more involved," which has been great. Obviously, like we have, we're not. We have like a limited awareness, and if you want to get bigger brands on like Game, for example, then you obviously need to go to them and ask them for that. And we're always looking for this sort of the brands and the companies that we want to partner with, who are really cool brands that people love, and sort of like share what we're trying to do, and really supportive of what we're trying to do, and want to help just grow this for everybody. Um, so that's why we're really excited about somebody as big and as involved as Game are now in esports as well. So some very exciting things, and hopefully we can sort of grow on that, and go bigger and better next year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's pretty brilliant what you've done so far. So a lot of
Thank
gaming
you.
society, a lot of gaming societies and esports societies and universities are obviously getting bigger every year. Even when I left, which was far too long ago now for me, was getting pretty big. And I know, because I live in Manchester, I know that Manchester Metropolitan University, they have a pretty big esports society, well, gaming society at the moment. What kind of advice would you give to those students on how they could contribute to esports and basically the UK scene in general?
So I would say for students at university, the first thing to do is get involved with your society. Um, like I cannot sort of like underestimate or understate, it's probably the better term, like how important societies are to the university scene. Like, you know, suppose they do like a massive amount of work for us and make what we're doing successful. So you know, hats off to those guys who put the time and effort in there. You know, at a very basic level, it's just sort of turn up and get involved with the events, and you know, talk to the committee and tell them what you want to you want to see happen, and sort of pay your subs as well, because you know these guys are you know, they're doing it for free. And I know a lot of committee people will be putting their own money into making events and stuff happen, where you know, which is fantastic, but you know, people can just be chipping in a little bit, and just, you know, most society memberships are only a few pounds, so you know, help contribute to those, and they can, you know, with that money and stuff, they can do some really awesome things. And you know, depending on how involved you want to get, you know, there's like loads of like different opportunities. You can, you know, you don't necessarily have to be on the committee, but you know, running events that the committee wants to put on, just helping out, setting things up and stuff like that would be a massive help to those guys. You know, with the sort of like more of the esports side of things, you know, being a coach for the team if you're, you know, particularly good player or an analyst or anything like that, you know, giving casting a try. You know, we're always you know, very encouraging of anybody who wants to cast their university's games while the NUEL's going off, and you know, we very much encourage that. So if you ever fancy giving that a go, you know, it's just, you know, societies are a great opportunity to take that first step onto the esports ladder. You know, they're always looking out for people to help out, and you know, it's such a great opportunity. Like, you know, if you want to be a caster or, you know, a coach and stuff like that, you can mess up a little bit, and you know, you're not going to be thrown in front of thousands of people, or you know, it's not going to be like a massive thing if you know, you know, as you sort of learn how things are going and sort of get better at what you're doing. So like, there's loads of different things, and like, get onto the committee if you're really passionate, and like help with events in particular. You know, help organize the teams, and you know, manage those guys and stuff like that. And you know, working with the university to see what their support and stuff they can do, because you know, you can do some really incredible things, and some of the things we see happen at societies are awesome. Like, you know, Manchester, like things like King of the North's awesome, and that's all run by societies, and not only just the society in Manchester, but Manchester Met, Salford, and everything. They're all getting involved with that, which is a great opportunity and a great thing to put on your CV. You know, you got people like you know, De Montfort, like they have weekly gaming nights where they actually have like a room just full of like Alienware machines and stuff, and they'll sit there training and practicing and playing League and stuff like that. And those guys also all went out to Katowice for IEM last year, and you know, like people at Sheffield Hallam, they've got like a crazy number of teams. You know, like they've got 18 teams or something playing in League of Legends, and like another 5 playing in CS:GO and stuff. So you know, just, that's a hell of a lot of work to put all those different things on, and you know, just they need hands to help out. And you know, if you've got any expertise, like if you put any videos together or anything like that, or take photos or whatever, then just go and help. Like, just go and talk to the committee, and if there isn't a society there, go and set one up. You know, one of the great things that we've seen happen during the NUEL's existence is the number of societies that have set up so they can come and play and organize teams and stuff like that, which is awesome. Um, and you know, it's a hell of a lot of work getting off the ground, like, and I really take my hat off to the people who do that, because you know, it's a bit like when we were starting out, nobody turns up to start off with. Like, you know, you're having to like put events on and like go and chasing people, and like, you know, people aren't very responsive to start off with, but but you know, you need to you know, literally, I go around with a clipboard. I was talking to one guy who set a society. We just went around with a clipboard asking people if they played League of Legends, and just took their IGNs down, and just got them all together in a Facebook group, and then you know, it all started from that. And you know, I think what you got to remember with universities, though, and what's really cool about, you know, the university esports is that, you know, for most people anyway, when they go to university, you know, it's like one of the sort of like most important experiences of their lives. It's something that they're going to remember for the rest of the time. And, you know, we want esports to be a big part of that. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, well, are really passionate about esports, and if they can make their university experience a big part of that, then it's a great sort of legacy to leave. If you were the guy who set the society up, or you were the president, or you were the guy who helped with the events out, or you can come back in a year's time and say, well, I used to be the video guy, you're the new video guy. I got a job X, Y, and Z in X, Y, and Z place, and stuff like that. So, as there's so much you can be doing with societies and stuff. I know I've talked a lot about societies. I don't know if do you want to talk about general esports as well?
Yeah, if you want to, feel free.
I know I've sort of like labouring this point quite a lot, but societies are awesome, so go
Yeah,
enjoy them.
I'd agree, definitely. I definitely agree.
Um, so it's pretty similar just with esports in general. Like, go and ask the big event organizers if you can go and help out and be a volunteer there, or start off even smaller. Like, go and talk to like the people who run like the Facebook pages for like League of Legends or CS:GO and stuff like that, and just start getting involved with the community and start maybe running tournaments with them and helping those guys out and stuff like that. As you know quite well. And just you got to start small and sort of like build your way up in esports, and there's plenty of like opportunity. Like even if there's not something there already, it's quite there's you can go and set it up yourself, and give it a go there, and just go and find the right people to help it get off the ground, and like you can do some pretty amazing things. So yeah, just go and look at where you can help out and where you think where you're frustrated with something, and go and see what you can do to help. And the key thing is you're going to have to volunteer to start off. We don't expect to just like walk in and be getting paid to go and travel to places and stuff like that. That goes from being a player all the way up to being admins, casters and stuff like that. You got to go and just put yourself out there and just help out and just put something back into the community. And you'll find like if you're really passionate about it and you've got a bit of a knack for it, that you'll eventually start getting paid for it, or some opportunities will come along, or it'll lead to a job somewhere. So it's very much a long game. Like, you've got to be patient, you've got to be very passionate about it. You can't just be doing it for yourself. Like, especially in the UK, the vast majority of the esports stuff that happens in the UK is, run by enthusiasts, and is more of an amateur level. Well, I don't say that to be disrespectful. It's just because like the money in there, and those guys really put a lot of effort into to make things happen. So so you can go and enjoy yourself. So it's just great if you can just do something similar and put something back in yourself, and that'll hopefully lead to something else, and then the next group of people will come up and for the opportunities that you've given to them, and sort of take the reins.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Well,
Sorry, very
yeah.
generic answer.
No, it's fine. I mean, I basically found out about League of Legends from my gaming society at Hull, and we did LANs, and well, not the typical LANs, but obviously LANs still, where we all grouped up and we did like 5v5s against each other, or we did mini tournaments in the society. So that obviously back then, that was the only way I found about League of Legends, and from that I've gone on to do multiple things, and really that's how I've enjoyed the game so much. And I think it'd be great if other people can find out about the game who might not have known back then through these societies, and obviously get into a community and meet up, and obviously basically have good times with people, because a lot of people get bad rep for being lazy, whatever, in the UK. But if they actually put in a bit of effort and are enthusiastic, there's plenty of people who are, then we can actually make something out of the scene, which would be great.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to just expand on that point. Like, I think it's just awesome, the sort of types of people you meet and you get to know and make friends with and stuff like that, especially in offline situations and when you're more involved with organising stuff. And I think that's a massive benefit as well by getting more involved. Which I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. So I just wanted to backtrack to a point that you made before, and you were speaking about coaches. Obviously, you've got a NUEL team now, and Nutri is your coach. So I just want to talk a little bit about the NUEL team, like who's on it, apart from Nutri, obviously, and how you went on to get Nutri as your coach, and why you decided to actually create a team for the NUEL, because obviously it's not something that maybe you think, you go, oh, NUEL, National University Esports League, but why would they have a team?
Yeah, so it sounds like you've already got an exclusive scoop, because I don't think we've announced anybody who's who's
Oh,
involved in this
okay.
team.
Oh,
So yeah, so
maybe.
so yeah, Nucci is the coach, which is absolutely fantastic because I mean anybody who knows anything about UK esports knows what sort of like pedigree and prestige Nutri has, and is an incredibly talented player, and played in all sorts of tournaments and won tournaments and stuff like that. So it's great to have somebody with that level of experience and knowledge to come and sort of help our guys out. So it's a massive. We think it's a massive bonus for us, and we're really excited to work with him. And so far it's been a blast. So really looking forward to see what he can do with the team. To answer your question, I'm going to do a politician and sort of skip the bit about the roster because we haven't announced that yet.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's there, but I want to leave the big reveal for anybody who fancies visiting the NUEL blog at thenuel.com/r/blog. Sorry to do a cheeky little plug. The reason why we wanted to set a team up is like a bit like what I was saying earlier. We want to give people opportunities to go beyond the NUEL. We very much see ourselves as a starting platform for people in esports, and especially for those who've not been involved particularly much beforehand. And the idea behind the team was we've got lots of really good players. Like people, don't seem to think that on Twitter or whatever, but we really do. And they're not necessarily in the same team, so they don't strictly speaking, get the same amount of limelight as like the top teams do, who might have like a solid roster of diamond players and stuff. So they never get the sort of experience of the NUEL getting to play on stage and getting all the attention on streaming and content and stuff like that. But they're really good players, and we wanted to see how we can give those guys opportunities too. So we put this team together because we want to try and encourage them to go on further and play at higher level than NUEL. And see what we could do to encourage that. So we just thought, well, let's just have a look at all the players in the tournament. Let's see which ones are what we think are the best players or the best sort of fit as the five, and put them in a team and start entering them into tournaments. So we started playing in the UK Premiership, and I think it's well documented that he didn't start out particularly well. Like our team sort of crumbled away. But we've learned a lot from that, and we put together a new roster for the second half of the Premiership, and we did very well. We came fifth overall, which was a great achievement for us. We beat some excellent teams like TCA, obviously, and I just thought I'd mention that. I'm sure Luna will give me a phone call after this, it was great for them to be on stream and to get the attention and stuff like that. So we just want to sort of like put these guys out there and like show them what it's like to play at the top level and sort of like motivate and encourage them. And then hopefully these players will go on and win the LCS or something like that, which sounds ridiculous, but if we could do a good enough job with them and encourage them enough, then maybe one day.
So obviously you've not released the roster yet, but do you actually think that they can compete with other UK teams? We've got the ESL Premiership coming up soon, and you're obviously in the qualifier for that. So how do you think they're going to do?
So the qualifiers, the qualifiers or the promotion tournament, I can't remember what it's called, is going to be really, really, really tough for everybody. Because I think it's probably going to be the toughest part of the season, apart from the finals. Like no disrespect to any teams or anything, but some really, really strong teams coming up through the qualifiers now. Some massive organizations like Renegades and people like Manolite as well, a massive organization, and really taking this there's people who are taking this really seriously, and we've got like excellent rosters and stuff. And also people like yourselves at TCA and all these teams that didn't make it in the first sort of split, have got excellent rosters and teams, and you've seen some strong teams come out, like Last Insomnia and stuff. So like there's a hell of a lot to play for, and it's going to be very challenging. Um, but we feel like we put the best sort of preparations we can in place, and we're confident that we're going to get through into the tournament. Like I say, it's not going to be any easy ride, and for anybody, to be honest. But we think we'll get back into the main season.
Okay, good confidence there. So obviously we were talking about opportunities earlier, quite a
Yep.
lot, and one person in who I notably know is who had an opportunity through um, the NUEL is Munchables. He obviously started his career. I'm pretty sure he started his career there at the NUEL as a caster. Are there any other people that I might have forgotten about who've come through the NUEL and gone on to do better things? And like, how does it actually make you feel to know that someone like Munchables has become so big and has been quite successful in the UK scene as like an ESL caster?
It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm absolutely chuffed to bits for Munch. Because especially there's like a few casters we'll talk about, but they put an incredibly amount of hard work in and dedication and sacrifice into getting where they are, and it's fantastic that you can. He doesn't call it himself. I call it him every time I see him. Is it's a professional caster now, which is a very rare thing to be like. There's not many opportunities for that to happen, and I actually met him on Friday down at the ESL office, and like it's just great, what he's doing, and it's fantastic listening to some of the opportunities he gets to go. He's just come back from Cologne, I think, and he's like, going to Katowice and stuff like that, and he's going to work with these awesome people and stuff like that, and it's absolutely fantastic to see him spend most of his time at the NUEL. I think he did do a bit of casting for an unspeakable organisation beforehand. But he sort of like cut his teeth with us, which is great. We've also obviously had people like Sigilus, who's now Action Jackson, I think he's calling
Yeah.
himself now. He's obviously been sort of a mainstay in doing the top UK events, and chatting to him recently, he seems to be in a different country every time I talk to him. Like he's been out doing working for PGL, which is a massive
Yeah.
gig for him. And he was out in LA a few months ago, casting something else, and like he's got all these like crazy exciting opportunities going off, which is awesome. Ex-Scoundrel spent a lot of time. I'm not going to claim that we've Ex-Scoundrel's an incredibly talented person, so I'm not going to claim that we made him or anything like that. But it's awesome to see the gigs that he's getting, and like getting to know these people, and to say that they worked at the NUEL and stuff. They've all gone on, and they're either doing it sort of a semi-professional level because they've got other commitments, like Scoundrels
Yeah, of
being a
course.
sensible person and training to be a doctor, and people like Munch and Steelers are doing this professionally now, which I say it's absolutely fantastic to say that for them, because not many people get to get into that position. I know it's very much what what we want to see is we want to see people sort of graduate from the NUEL, we'll use that term, and go into bigger and better things. Um, I'll also mention our current crop of casters since the morning in Twitch chat. They're also awesome as well.
Of course.
We from talking to people in the industry and stuff like that, they rate them very highly, and it's hopefully something we can continue, and sort of see this happen, as a more regular thing instead of a one-off.
So just moving on a little bit, I just want to talk a tiny bit about the UK scene in general. And I
Uh-huh.
know, obviously, I've probably mentioned it a little bit before. A lot of people say that the UK scene is bad and like there's nothing to do. And I don't particularly agree. I just think that probably what it is not many people actually know that the scene even exists.
Hmm.
Outside of like things like the NUEL and the ESL Premiership, people don't think that there is anything for them to do. So if you can't do things like play at the top or play as a student, which after I left university, that's basically what I felt like, because I wasn't so into it back then.
Hmm.
And I wasn't obviously able to prove that I was good enough to join the bigger teams either, because I mean it's quite hard to obviously do that, and I'm not good enough anyway. Like, what do you think we're actually lacking in the scene? Are we lacking anything at all? Like, do we not have enough competitions, or are the players just despondent?
Oh, that's a controversial question. So I think the UK scene is getting a lot better. Like there was literally nothing, a few years ago. And I think people either weren't aware of that or weren't around or whatever. But I think it's like a British thing. Like people want to moan all the time, and there's a lot of positives. To take from what's been going off recently. Like obviously you've got things like the UK Premiership, which is awesome. It's getting sort of like the higher end of play to do. To sort of commit more and like the higher end players to sort of give them opportunities to play in a longer league and like what we see recently with contracts and stuff like that. It's awesome because it's starting to get more professional and that's helping drive things like that. And like that, insomnia is massive. Like that's there's loads of people that go to insomnia. And you don't get that in every country. So we should really respect those sort of things. And I think I think you can sort of validate this a little bit by looking at things like what Riot's done with Worlds, for example, and like the LCS. They've been doing them in Wembley and stuff, and it shows that there is a large number of people there who are interested in esports in the UK. I guess the big thing is like how do we get those people then more involved with playing and contributing. And a bit like what I was saying earlier with working with societies and stuff like that, it's sort of baby steps. You need to get people more involved at a very sort of like sort of like at the bottom rung of the ladder, like a more of a grassroots level. And maybe there can be more competitions and stuff there, but the thing about competitions is it's obviously it requires a lot of motivation to go and play in them. You've got to have to get four of your friends and make sure they turn up on time and sort of like willing to play, which is an incredibly difficult job having to do it myself and talk to all the people who do it for the NUEL. And then you've got to sit around and play. There's probably going to be delays and teams are going to show up and stuff like that where you could just be playing round fives or something like that for League of Legends. It's a lot easier experience. So I think there's like some really cool things going off with like what's happening in the Facebook groups, like League of Legends UK and UK League of Legends. I know there's two, and I don't want to upset either camp or cause any controversy there. But just doing things like the pickup stuff, or like just sort of like, all right, we're going to play this together, or do a mini tournament and stuff like that. We're going to do some casting and stuff. Like I think that sort of thing is really awesome because, like I say, it's very low sort of barrier to entry, and it just helps people get a taste of what's going on and stuff. So I just think we probably need more of that sort of thing, and just to get more people interested, because at the end of the day, like there's stuff there, like obviously there's obvious things like you need more money and stuff like that, and that just comes with time, and we have to. It's a chicken and egg problem. Like you have to go and prove that there's people there and there's an interest before you can get the money, but people aren't interested in playing until the money's there, or like the big tournaments there or the flashy streams are there and stuff like that. So I think we've just got to convince people that it is worthwhile spending your evening playing in tournaments and playing in a team, and like it's really awesome. You get to meet these awesome people and make all these great friends, and you get to be streamed and stuff like that. And again, like it's not going to be glamorous or anything. It just requires like people just going out there and going, right, I'm going to set up a tournament and invite people and make sure it's run decently, or help support the people that are already there and have got the contacts and stuff to get things going. So yeah, I think it's very much trying to encourage the grassroots things, because you can't expect all the fancy things to be there. Like you can't expect to get massive prize pools or stuff like that. You've got to do it for the fun of it and the love of it to start with. So we just need to reach out to more people to do that. And if you enjoy it and you sort of like get bit by the bug, then people will go on and be top gamers or top pros, or be involved in running events and stuff like that. It's just about setting that spark for people to do so. And getting them interested initially, like you were saying with your university. And I know I don't want to sound like I'm just being really sort of like self-centered, but like the vast majority of people in the NUEL have never played in an esports tournament before, and it's just about trying to give them a great experience and showing them what they can be getting up to, and hoping that they sort of carry that on further.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about like before the show, we were talking about a book that we're both reading, and I think in the introduction they basically talk about how England or the UK is, I think it's the fifth biggest like gaming population in the UK back in 2011. So there's definitely people here who are playing games. We just have to reach them, and especially like we had Worlds last year, it sold out for every single day. So there obviously are people around. It's just about how the hell do we get those people on board to take part in tournaments. Because I did a tournament last spring, I think it was, yeah, last spring, and we did 4 groups of 4, and in each group, like one team dropped out. Now that was really convenient in the end, because if it was just one in one group, it would have been really awkward to
Yeah.
manage everything. But because it just evened out, it was fine. So it's just trying to get those people actually to stay on board as well. I mean, obviously, the circumstances happen, but when they feel like they can just drop out, well, then they will, and it makes the tournament not necessarily as good as it could have been.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's all about how do you motivate people to stick at it and what the incentives are. And I don't know if you've got to this part in the book, but you'll start reading about intrinsic motivators and stuff like that, which is really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
So you look forward to that bit. Um, but a lot of it is sort of, I think the real big appeal about esports is it's about playing with other people. You don't, you can take it seriously as you want, but you get to play with this team of people and you get to achieve something awesome if you win a tournament. That's like, it's better than just winning, a few ranked games or solo queue or whatever. Um, so, um, it's all about that sort of like giving people like, small achievements. Like I remember winning a cup. Or like I think one time that I was the only person left alive, and like there were 5 on their team, and I had to kill them all. I killed them all. Like it was like the most amazing achievement. Like I felt absolutely amazing after doing it. Or like you win a cup, and you're like, oh wow, we won a cup, we won £50. That's amazing. Like we're
Yeah.
all over the moon, and we can't get to sleep because we're all like excited, sort of thing. It's very little things, but we just need to sort of maybe, just push that aspect a little bit more, and like I said, push the aspect of playing with other people, and I don't know how we demonstrate that, but it's so much better playing with other people than it is on your own.
Yeah, I mean,
And oh, sorry, go on.
no, go on. If you're finishing your point, go on.
I was just going to say, you know, uh, I can't remember what the point was now. It's about playing with other people. Like you just make
Yeah.
great friends and stuff like that. I'm going to keep saying that.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously the competitive side is important, and I'm quite a competitive person in general, but like actually meeting up with other people and just in general like creating a community. I mean, that's why these like League of Legends groups are so important. You get to create a community, and then they have meetups at like events like iSeries and Wembley, and you get to know the people better. And by doing that, you then go back home and play with them, and it's just so much better to have that community and like that communal aspect, I guess.
Exactly, and you know, I think esports is not always about playing. Like obviously that's the vast majority of it, but it's about doing those little things like you're saying, like meeting up with people and stuff like that, or running a tournament, or giving casting a bit of a go, or doing some content and stuff like that. Like, there's all different facets of that you can be getting involved with and helping to improve. You don't have to be great players to have a big impact, and I'm sure Gary and Tom are good examples of that.
Yeah, yeah. So just quickly, before we end the show, I just want to end on like a fun question, basically. So there's obviously talks at the moment about people going to Mars in 2020 on a one-way trip to settle there and begin life for people from Earth, obviously. If you had to take any 3 players from within the UK scene, who would you take and why?
Christ.
They don't have to obviously be
I
good
don't.
players. It's just their personality, like something about the personality. Maybe I don't know what good being a good League of Legends player would do to you on Mars. Maybe we have Mars versus Earth or something. But
The crazy amount of lag, I guess.
a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a ploy to get rid of people or to build some awesome community.
Why
It was
not?
a
But
ploy to get rid
they
of.
are going with you, so I don't know if you
Oh
want to get
right.
rid of.
Oh
Yeah, that's the problem. You
Christ.
don't want to get rid
I
of
was
them.
I was going to say, like, if people to get rid of, I know plenty of people, especially those people who are slagging NUEL off on Twitter. God, I don't know.
What about
I
people
don't
you
know.
work with? What about people you work with then?
Oh God, I'd love to get rid of them. No, I'm kidding. Please don't leave. Um, no, I'd have to take Tom because he's basically been carrying me for the last like 4 or 5 years, helping the NUEL. I'm sure he probably won't want to get on with me. I don't know. Anybody else who's willing to come along? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm sorry.
Anyone from Twitch chat wants to go with Josh to Mars by any chance? Maybe. Josh, do you have any shout outs before we finish? You know, any sponsors to plug, anything like that?
Of course. Well, why else would I be here? Um, Obviously, like we get a massive amount of support from Game, which is awesome, and they're allowing us to do awesome things. So it's great to have those guys on board. Um, Same with ESL as well. Like things like New Live last year and like the streams and stuff like that. Um, wouldn't be anywhere near as awesome without those guys. And working with people like that, helps open these opportunities up too. Like people like Munch get to go and work for ESL, and it's working closely with people like that. It's great. I am a sellout Twitch chat. I'm sorry. Like, if it came across any other way, then I'm afraid you don't know who I am. Um, and Yeah, people like Twitch as well. They're very supportive. We get to go on like front page of Twitch every time, and like having meeting those guys, like they're super keen on pushing things and just helping promote anything in UK esports. So they're a very supportive bunch as well, and obviously Riot have been a massive help to us as well. Last season they flew our winning team to Berlin to watch the LCS. Took them out for a meal and. They went on a backstage tour to meet all the casters and the players and stuff like that, which was an incredible experience. And I sort of tanked myself on there, abusing my power to go and do that. And it was an absolute brilliant 4 days out there. They do a hell of a lot to help promote what we're doing and support us and providing us advice and stuff like that. So as much stick they get for doing what they do, I've a lot of love for them with their help that they've given the NUEL. But I think that's it from the selling out point of view. Obviously it's like I said earlier, we wouldn't be able to do what we did without all the hard work from all the volunteers that we have on our team and all the societies and the people who sort of like go out the way to making sure the teams are all there on time and stressing out running events and stuff like that. Those guys are the sort of true heroes of making the university scene as well, making the university scene what it is. So massive thanks to those guys. And obviously thank you for your time, and thank you to TCA
No
for taking a
problem.
risk and having me on. I'm sure the viewing numbers probably dropped significantly after I started talking, so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come and
Yeah,
talk.
no problem at all. So, well, obviously, thanks to you as well, Josh, and thanks to everyone who tuned in today. We will be doing another episode same time next week, and our guest next week will be Choke Vince, or well, formerly Choke Vince, who is now doing other things, and we'll be talking to him about that. We've also got another episode of We Are TCA coming out, which I think it's tomorrow, so just keep your eyes peeled for that. And thank you everyone for tuning in.